What's going on, guys? Welcome back to We Want Picks. My name is Jacob, aka the Freckled Salamander. Thank you for joining me here today for my quick pick video for UFC Vegas 70, coming off another successful week on UFC Vegas 69. Make sure you go to WeWantPicks.com, one of the most beautiful websites in existence today, and become a premium member today. It is only $10 a month. You get my picks, Angela's picks, my early bets, Angela's early bets, DraftKings optimizer. You get line movement. You get all sorts of stuff. Only $10 a month. Last week, I was up over 3 units. It should have been 7, 8, 9 units if Evan Nelder up 2-0 on the scorecards wouldn't have got that cut above his eye, but we move on. Before I get into this quick pick video for UFC Vegas 70, let me first shout out, and I want you guys to show him some love too. I have another friend, my actual Angelo friend, Angelo for the pocket, not really. Angelo Robles Jr. is making his second professional fight this Saturday, and he is an up-and-coming fighter, a personal friend of mine. Go show him some love. He won his pro debut with this beautiful 30-second knee bar. He is a grappler, a wrestler, coming around with the hands, and I think he has some real bright outlook and a bright future for his MMA career. So make sure you guys show him some love on his Instagram. He has a fight this Saturday night. Make sure you guys tune in if possible. I am excited, but let's get into the quick pick video for UFC Vegas 70. First up, we have Jose versus Garrett, and I'm telling you right now, there is no question who the more dangerous fighter is in this matchup, and that is Jose 110%. Now, I will say that Garrett is the more technical striker. He's probably more technical on the ground, but as far as danger is concerned, it is going to be Jose. I posted on my Twitter one of the craziest elbow knockouts I have ever seen in my life. He absolutely killed a man. There's also this flying knee KO he has. He's killed multiple men along the way, and yes, he has some losses, and his losses come when he does get out-wrestled. It's a weird thing about Jose in his fights. It feels like he gets out-wrestled almost every single time, but at the same time, it feels like he wins most scrambles. So he's getting out-wrestled, but he's able to scramble. And the way he was able to win his last fight was scramble back to top position at the end of every single round, and I absolutely love seeing that. Brought out the dog. You guys know how much I love my dogs, and this dude Jose seems like he's got a little bit of dog in him. He's not just KO, finish, or bust. If he has to work off his back, he can sweep, he can get top positions, and I kind of see how this fight going. I see Garrett coming in, making technical strikes, maybe getting touched up a little bit because Jose's going to have the power, going to the wrestling, maybe having success in the wrestling, but Jose, being even more the dangerous guy on the ground, is able to reverse positions, end up on top, maybe find a finish, if not on the feet, on the ground. I love the value in Jose. If you guys are a premium member, you knew I already loaded up. The odds are already dropping. The odds might even flip to Jose as a favorite in this matchup. I love Jose in this matchup. Obviously, Garrett is the favorite. He's going to be the more technical fighter. Jose's much more dangerous, and he's got the dog. That's called a double whammy in my book. Give me Jose confidence level, probably about a 6 out of 10, because he is a little bit of a dog, can't get out wrestled, but let's move on to the next one. Hailey versus Ailin Perez, and I'll be honest with you guys, I get it. I know. Perez is the twerking girl. She came in. From what I remembered from the Stephanie Edgar fight was Perez coming in, twerking, doing all her stuff, and then getting absolutely steamrolled, right? That's what I remember. So when I saw her pop up again, I'm like, oh yeah, fade her. Then I rewatched that Stephanie Edgar fight. She got some takedowns. She got some reversals, and the only thing she really struggled with was Stephanie Edgar's judo, right? I mean, world-level judo, and you saw that with Perez, right? She got to where she wanted to be, but when it came to those inside judo trips, the throws, the headlock throws, Perez really didn't know how to defend against that, and guess what? Hailey doesn't have that judo. Hailey, I think, is... To see her as a favorite in this fight, very, very surprising. 2 fights ago, not her last fight, 2 fights ago, she fought a 2-0, 38-year-old, tiny little Hawaiian lady, like basically like someone's aunt was out there just fighting for the fun of it. Had her double underhooks pressed against the fence for like 3-4 minutes, and she still struggled to get this girl to the ground. I think Perez can run through this girl. I honestly think Perez can run through the score. Obviously, the antics, the Instagram, the twerking is a pause for the cause in this matchup, but I think Perez is a much, much better fighter, and actually is kind of a nastier fighter than Hailey. Hailey, former gymnast, nothing against gymnasts. Those are tough girls as well, but I'm saying she is a former gymnast coming up, doing the MMA thing. She kind of looks the part physically, but when I'm watching her in matchups and the level of competition she's faced, I'm going to go with Perez in this matchup, and honestly, I think Perez might be able to get this done easy. I think she gets a takedown quick, and Hailey might be able to play a little bit of the jiu-jitsu game, but I think Perez can dominate this matchup. Again, go to WeWantPicks.com, become a premium member. I got action on her as well. I like Perez in this matchup. I'll put about a 6 as well. I mean, she is the dog in this matchup, but I think she's the better fighter. Let's move on. Next up, we have Jason Nurullo versus Rafael Alves. And this one is going to be very, very interesting. And this feels like the parlay buster of all parlay busters. Because this dude apparently is Baby Khabib. And I heard that before I started watching them, and maybe my expectations were too high, right? Maybe I was expecting too much, but I'm watching tape on this kid, and he is still a kid, and I think that's a very important part of this fight. He is still only 23 years old, only 8-0 in his fights. I'm watching film on this guy, and I'm like, not seeing it. I'm not seeing the dominant wrestling. When he can do what he wants to do, he's going to be looking very... And that was kind of like Ku last week against Jamal Emmers. I almost see this as like that same type of matchup. And I was trying to warn people last week about Jamal Emmers, that Ku was coming in that matchup against regional people, that he was able to just kind of ragdoll, picking people up, slamming them down. He was not going to be able to do that to Jamal Emmers. He wasn't able to do that to Jamal Emmers. And you saw he kind of just gave up in that fight as far as getting takedowns go, and then was getting outstruck. Now, Jason Nurullo in this matchup, we'll see if he can get because the takedowns should be a little bit easier to get, because Rafael will play a little bit of the jiu-jitsu game, right? He will try to jump guillotines. He will try to play that, win sweeps. So the takedowns should be a little bit easier. But there were some fights I'm watching with Jason Nurullo to where I'm like, this dude is in the second round. Didn't really do a whole lot in the first round. He's looking at the clock. He's running away. He can't keep people down. So I'm looking at this, and I understand he's not like a minus 300 or minus 400, but Rafael Alves, if there's anyone that's live in any fight, it is Rafael Alves in this matchup. He is going to take some chances. He is going to get crazy enough. He is going to be in this kid's face. He has a wild guillotine as well. If this kid's taking bad shots, this is a very, very dangerous matchup for Jason Nurullo. And I'm telling you, I'm going to make him my pick. I'm going to trust what I've heard from other people, and that's he is Baby Khabib. He should have the wrestling, and I think that if he gets Rafael to the ground, he can control him. But on the feet, this is a dangerous, dangerous matchup. I'm telling you right now, it should be a fun one to watch. Rafael Alves' fights are always insane. He is always game, very, very explosive. This is going to be let me tell you this. If Nurullo makes this fight look easy, he's as good as advertised. I think this could be a complete war, and this can be a big moment for the kid. I'm going Nurullo, not putting any money on him. Let's move on. Solecki versus Carl Deaton the third, and I'm telling you right now, I don't know about this Joe Solecki. I know that this is a weird card, guys. This is a weird card, and I know that Joe Solecki is a 500 favorite against a short notice regional guy who isn't very good. I think his last win was against a guy that was like 8-10 or something like that. But the guy does somewhat know what he's doing on the ground. He does throw a little bit of heat. And we saw Joe Solecki in his last fight get dropped in 30 seconds. Not only did he get dropped in 30 seconds, but he turned into a little bit of a jiu-jitsu nerd. I know he's got wrestling. I know that he likes to have the top pressure, will get people's back. But he stayed in guard like that whole entire round. And that's just not a good look. I know he probably won't be in that same position versus Carl. But when you're looking at a minus 500, minus 550 favorite, it's like, yeah, he should dominate this fight because he's way better on the ground than this guy Carl. But I'm telling you, there's a little bit of like, man, I mean, it's hard to, we know about those jiu-jitsu nerds. It is hard to trust those guys sometimes. And Joe will stand on the feet before he shoots those takedowns. So I'm going Joe Solecki here. Obviously, he is the pick. I don't want to, put too much caution out there. It is a short notice opponent, and he should absolutely dominate this fight. But he had been knocked down in his last fight. He will play his guard game, but he should be able to win sweeps. He should be able to get the takedowns, get on top, get the back, get an early finish. So I'm Joe Solecki all the way. I don't want to seem like I'm picking against him or anything like that, but I just want to keep in the back of your minds that when you're putting parlays and stuff, weird things happen at times. Let's move. O'Day versus Charles Johnson, and end up being either the worst fight of the night or the absolute best fight of the night. And when it comes down to both these guys, I don't know if you can trust either one of them, especially not O'Day. But Charles Johnson, you can't really trust him as well. That Zalgas fight, he thought he was dominating that fight. That was a very, very close fight. And a lot of people, thought Zalgas won that fight. And if you ask Charles Johnson after the fight who won that fight, he's like, oh, I won all 3 rounds. It wasn't even close. So if this is like 1-1, this is a close fight, you can't trust Charles Johnson to push forward to win rounds because he's going to be thinking he's winning. O'Day on the other side, you can't trust him to do anything. What he's supposed to do, the guy gets knocked out doing stupid stuff. He can't get knockouts himself. But Charles Johnson is a hard dude to hit. He's very, very well-rounded everywhere. He's almost a 2-1 favorite for a reason. He is going to be the more complete fighter. I like Charles Johnson's matchup. I thought the odds would be closer, honestly. Charles Johnson at like a -125, I'm all over it. I'm all over that. -180, this might balloon to -200. I can't trust him with my money for that because I don't think he's putting O'Day away. He's not like that super, super aggressive type striker. He's a very, very slick striker, but he's a confident dude. And sometimes those confident dudes do stupid shit. And both these guys do stupid shit at times. So this could either be standing, staring, taunting each other for 15 minutes, or they could really, really go after it. And if they go after it, O'Day's got power. Charles has got the slick striking. So my pick is Charles Johnson. I do have a little bit on him, but I kind of parlayed it in a way to get his money line down a little bit. Become a premium member if you want to see what that is. But I'm going with Charles Johnson. He's a more complete fighter. Just hard to really, really trust him with that -180, -200 money. Let's move on. Jordan Leavitt versus Victor. And I'm telling you right now, people need to stop putting disrespect on Jordan Leavitt. I understand he got finished against Patty, but he was bullying Patty. He was bullying Patty in his own backyard in that fight. And I know he ended up getting reversed and getting submitted and got teabagged. It is what it is, and people don't like him because he does the twerking and the splits. But when it comes down to wrestling and grappling, and especially that single leg that he has, it is very, very good. And he has very, 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 very good control once he gets on top of people. And I know that Victor is a black belt, but when you watch his fights, the ease at which, especially his Contender Series fight, when you watch the ease at which people are able to grab single legs on him, it's just open mat single legs. It's not driving people back. It is not working to a single and then getting to him. People are just picking his leg in the middle of the octagon and then getting him to the ground. And yes, he's able to get back to his feet. And yes, he's able to win most of those fights anyway, right? He'll get back to his feet, but the way that people are able to do that, if Jordan Leavitt is able to get to a single and get to those positions and get to his back, because a lot of people get to his back, he'll give up his back to get back to his feet. If Jordan Leavitt is getting on a single, driving him to the cage, getting his back, he's not getting back to his feet, not against a guy with the grappling of Jordan Leavitt. And Jordan Leavitt is very, very good defensively in his striking. He gets that high, he has a super, super high guard, and everything is just off his arms, and he uses that front kick to keep distance. So he'll just front kick to push you against the fence, and that's when he takes a shot. But before you know it, he's on top of you, and you can't do anything about it. So I absolutely love this matchup for Jordan Leavitt. I assume the odds are just, because of the last fight, and people just have this optics about Jordan Leavitt. I think that he can absolutely dominate this fight. I think the singles are going to be there. He doesn't really get hit. Now, I don't want people coming back and saying, once he gets knocked out, because Victor, he does have some power, but it's just hard to hit a guy like Jordan Leavitt with the way he is defensively, and his offensive wrestling and grappling is so, so dominant, and Victor has been in too many of those positions that I can't imagine that if other people are getting those positions, Jordan Leavitt can get to those positions, and he won't get up if Jordan Leavitt is on top of him. So I'm going Jordan Leavitt in this matchup. Confidence level, I'll put him about a 5, maybe a 5 or 6. I don't have anything on him right now. I'm going to see where the odds kind of do, but, become a premium member. We're going to put something on Jordan Leavitt. I guarantee you that. Let's move on. Gabby versus Jasmine, and this one is going to be very, very interesting. This is definitely a stay away. I've said it before. Women's MMA and heavyweight, stay away with your money, even though I was just talking about Perez fight, but that's a little bit of a different situation. This Gabby and Jasmine fight is going to be very interesting. Gabby is probably the overall better fighter, right? The stronger, more physical girl. But I think that's going to be the issue in this fight. She's going to want to try and bully Jasmine, and Jasmine's not really a girl that gets bullied. Even in her last fight against Natalia Silva, that was like a very like, whoa, nobody expected, except for me. Go back and listen to it. I told everyone that Silva was going to look fantastic on the feet. I was on her Instagram. I knew that was about to happen. I was about the only person in the entire world. Even Dominic Cruz was watching the fight being like, oh, I can't believe there was nothing that would have told us that Silva... Anyway, I knew what was going on. Jasmine struggled with the speed, the footwork, and the striking of Natalia in that fight, where Gabby is a little bit more flat-footed, a little bit stronger shots. I don't think the striking is going to give Jasmine an issue as much in this fight, and because the footwork isn't quite as sporadic as Silva's is, Gabby should be there for the takedowns, and Gabby is comfortable off her back. Which means if Jasmine is shooting shots, she might just, I don't want to say pull guard, but she will accept takedowns and try to work off her back. And I think if Jasmine gets on top, she can keep that top control and that top pressure. So, you know, I'm picking Jasmine. I'm not putting money on Jasmine. I don't feel confident enough. I'm not putting her anything. So when you guys are listening to me right now, and you might listen to Tuesday, and I'm picking Jasmine, a pick is a pick. It's not worth my money, but I just think Jasmine can get those takedowns, and she was still tenacious. Even in that Silva fight, she was still chasing her down. She was frustrated, obviously, but she didn't give up, and she was still able to get to the legs of Silva in that matchup in the third round. She never gave up. I love the non-quit, even though she was frustrated kind of in that matchup. But Gabby, I understand it's very tough, very strong, very good. I'm just going Jasmine. I think she can get the takedowns and the top pressure. Let's move on. Erick Gonzalez versus Trevor Peek, and this one will be fun. I think this will be fun tonight. I think this will be fight of the night, and I hope that Erick Gonzalez honestly wins because I like him a lot. He is exactly what you want a UFC fighter to be. Well-rounded, but willing to take chances, willing to put himself out there to either get KO'd or or find a KO. And unfortunately, he's been getting finished in his matches. But I mean, he got submitted one, he got finished by Jim Miller. But he's a fun dude to watch. And he's a good striker. You saw in his last matchup versus Terrence McKinney, it seemed like he kind of evolved because Jim Miller knocked him out, and Terrence McKinney came in with a much higher guard, hands up, defending a little bit better, and he rocked Terrence McKinney in that matchup. Terrence was able to finally get in there and then get his back and submit him in that fashion, but he looked a little bit better in their striking. He's going to need that versus Trevor because Trevor is a guy that will also brawl. I think both these guys are going to brawl, but Trevor kind of showed in his matchup he's a little bit more durable than Erick. And I know Erick got flatlined by a flush shot from Jim Miller, but Trevor was he was down and out multiple times. I was able to fight through it. So this pick is just a durability thing, right? I think this could be fight of the night. This could be very, very fun. I don't see this fight going the distance. If you're going to put your money, that's probably where you want to play. I don't know what the odds are right now, but I'm just going with the durability I've seen from Trevor recently rather than the durability of Erick. But I'll probably be rooting for Erick. He's a fun dude, and everyone in the UFC that's not like a title contender should fight. Like, I mean, obviously as a fan, it's easier to say that, but he is everything you want as a fan when you're watching. He's taking chances, he's putting himself out there, and we'll see if he can get it done. But my pick, unfortunately for this, is going to be Trevor Peek in this matchup, just for durability. I think these guys are brawling, maybe mix in some takedowns, but I think these guys are brawling, and Trevor can hold up a little bit better. I'll be rooting for Erick. Trevor, give me like a 2 confidence level. I don't really give a shit. Mike versus Yohan, and this one should almost be a carbon copy of the Erick Gonzalez and the Trevor fight, honestly. I mean, this should be another awesome fight. And the big difference maker, this one's pretty easy to break down. I think they're both going to be slugging it out. The difference, I was going to say the issue, but the difference is Yohan is a little bit more telegraphed, a little bit more looping, a little bit more just the right hand, right? He just kind of has it back there. He has it back there. He throws it, he has it back there. He throws it, and he does sneak it through. And if he does sneak it through, he can definitely knock out Mike in this matchup, which kind of gives me a little bit of concern on Mike with the minus 200 or minus 220, whatever the odds are right now. But Mike should be able to win those exchanges, right? Because he is the better actual boxer in the pocket. He's throwing nice tight shots. He should be able to beat Yohan to the punch, see the right hand coming, slip it, boom, sit there with the counter, and we've seen the power. The issue is, I mean, we saw Mickey Gall touching this guy up. I mean, he was bloodied up. And if Mickey Gall's touching this guy and Yohan touches this guy, obviously it's a little bit different because Mickey's not throwing like the big right hands. He's just kind of in there tight as well. But Mickey's not a very good striker. And he was finding the nose repeatedly on Mike. And Mike, what, he hasn't been out of the first, I mean, he's like never, I don't think he's won a fight out of the first round, so there's some question marks there as well, where at least we've seen Yohan go out of the first round and is able to actually fight, you know, and win some fights out of the first round. So this one is another one. There's a lot of big favorites on this card where it's like, oh boy, like what are we going to do with this? And this is another one. I'm not going to put any money on Mike. I don't even think I'm going to put any money on Yohan. If Yohan lands, he can definitely knock this dude out, but Mike should be the play with the tighter shots, the more technical shots, and be there with the counter, slip and rip type shots. So I'm going Mike in this matchup. I don't love it. I mean, confidence probably like a 4 out of 10, something like that, because Yohan's going to be live. But if Mike wins, it's probably going to look dominant. That's my pick. Tatiana versus De La Rosa, and this one is going to be another entry. I mean, minus 800, and I get it. She's got world level wrestling. She's probably going to get the takedowns. She should have the control, but the layoff. And De La Rosa is very, I don't want to say very, very live, but very, very capable, right? People are going to look at the record 12-7 versus undefeated with the wrestling, and that's why the odds are the way they are. But De La Rosa is very well versed on the ground. Not only is she very well versed on the ground, even better on the ground than I am at speaking. Some of her specialties are arm bars and triangles. I mean, she loves that stuff. So it's probably going to be a lot of that. I have to imagine. It's going to be the takedowns, and then it's just going to be De La Rosa throwing up triangles, arm bars, trying to submit Tatiana. And it probably, anytime you have that type of strategy, it's always just going to be a Hail Mary. And with somebody at the level of Tatiana, it shouldn't really be an issue. I assume she's getting the rounds and getting the grappling in, understanding the positions and stuff in this long layoff. But time off, anything can happen. Sometimes those submissions come out of absolutely nowhere. If I was De La Rosa, the only thing I would be training, I would not train takedown defense at all. You're going to get taken down. I would train guillotines, front chokes, and then off your back, the arm bars, the triangles, because when she shoots, you better be there to try and grab that neck and then work off your back, because that's about the only chance you're going to have in this matchup. Can she get it done? We'll see, but Tatiana obviously is going to be the play in this matchup. I can't wait to see her fight. Welcome back, Tatiana. Let's move on. Augusto Sakai versus Don'Tale Mayes. I'm telling you right now, Mayes, I'm a little bit biased. Mayes is an Indiana guy. I'm an Indiana guy, but I broke down this fight, and I could not believe they have the disrespect of putting Mayes as an underdog in this fight is unbelievable. You have this dude Sakai that's, 0-4 in his last 4 with 4 straight. He's been finished 4 straight fights as a heavyweight. Any other division, that's not a good thing, especially heavyweights. You're just getting finished and finished and finished and finished. And I know that Mayes isn't like this, this dominant, overpowering striker or, this super wrestler or boxer or anything, but his boxing is pretty slick, especially his defensive boxing. He's got that high guard, almost like that Dustin Poirier, kind of slip and rip. I think he makes this look easy. I mean, Sakai is like one of those old school heavyweights that just kind of low volume, takes his time, looks for a shot, but doesn't have that one-hitter quitter type power. And if you don't have that one-hitter quitter against power against Mayes, I think he's just going to get outboxed. Now, I think this is a boring fight, right? Even if Mayes is coming in and dominating, I don't know if Mayes is going to finish the guy, even though he's been finished his last 4 fights. I think this could be one of those typical boring heavyweight fights where we're like, why the is this on the main card? I still don't understand why they keep force feeding us these heavyweight fights that we don't care about on the main cards. If this is on the prelims, it is, but this is a bathroom break fight. I don't think anything crazy is going to happen. It's probably going to be 15 minutes of just boring. We'll see what the decisions come through with the judges, but I think Mayes has the volume and the pressure to win this fight on the scorecards, if not get a finish, because everyone's finishing this guy. So I can't believe Mayes the underdog in this matchup. I'm not going to put money on him as of right now, but I think it's pretty good value. The only reason I'm not putting on it is because we don't bet on heavyweights, and especially heavyweights that are going to the judges, because judges are stupid. So Mayes is my pick for this matchup. Let's move on to the co-main. Muniz versus Brandon Allen, and I'm a big Brandon Allen guy. I absolutely love Brandon Allen. I knew that he was going to get knocked out by Chris Curtis. I called that. But as far as a fighter, I love him, right? Because he's very, very dangerous on the ground. learning in the striking, very, very good on the striking. He thinks he's a better striker than he is, which is why he got knocked out by Chris Curtis, but he's definitely going to be the better striker in this matchup. And the fact that he is comfortable with his jiu-jitsu is going to be one of two things. It's either going to win him this fight, and this is going to sound stupid because obviously, but it's either going to win him this fight or it's going to lose him this fight. And by that, I mean, because he trusts his jiu-jitsu, he's not going to be scared of the takedowns. Most people that fight Andre are scared of the takedowns, so they're just waiting. When's he going to take me down? When's he going to take me down? When's he going to take me down? Brendan Allen's not going to fight like that. He's going to be like, I don't care if he shoots on me. I can defend. I can scramble. So Brendan Allen's probably going to be in his face. Brendan Allen's going to be pushing him back. He's going to be in his face. He's going to be with the striking. He's going to be the better striking. He's going to be touching him up. The issue is, since he does trust his jiu-jitsu, is he going to defend the takedowns? Or is he going to try to win scrambles? And if he tries to win scrambles, I think he loses this fight. I don't see him getting mauled. I don't see this as a dominant performance. I don't see him getting finished on the ground. But if he's winning the striking, Muniz takes that shot, right? Brendan Allen is probably going to grab a guillotine or something or think that he can win a scramble. Now Muniz is on top. I don't think Brendan Allen is going to sweep and get up from the top pressure of Andre. And that's where I kind of see this fight going. I see Brendan Allen pressure, looking good in the first minute, 2 minutes, until Andre is able to set up that shot, shoots the shot, Brendan takes the shot, tries to win a scramble, can't win the scramble, gets held down. Next round starts on the feet. Brendan Allen coming, pressure. The shot comes. Maybe he's able to defend a little bit, but he keeps chasing the shot, gets taken down. Brendan Allen can't get back to his feet. So I think it's kind of like that, to where, Brendan Allen might win the first couple minutes of every single round, but he's going to end every single round on his back. And when it goes through the judges' scorecards, that's what they're going to see. That's what they're going to remember. And that's why they're going to give this decision to Andre. So I like Brendan Allen. I think he's much more live than probably other people think he is in this matchup. If he's able to defend the takedowns, he could smoke this guy, Andre, with his striking, but I just don't think he's going to be able to for all 3 rounds, and that's why I got to go with Andre in this matchup. Main event, Krylov versus Spann, and this is an interesting fight. This is a very, very tough fight to pick because, you see Spann is obviously the much more dangerous fighter in this matchup, either with his power, even with his chokes. If Krylov is taking bad shots, you're going to see Spann there with the guillotine. The only issue, and I want to pick Spann, and I like Spann, and he's going to be live in this matchup, obviously. But the fact that he hasn't been out of the first round in like 5 fights, it's like, because you have to imagine that Krylov is going to drag him into the second, the third, the fourth round if it gets there with his relentless. We've seen how just absolutely relentless Krylov can be. And the only people he's losing to is champs, former champs, interim champs, and then Paul Craig, who is just submitting everyone except for people who realize that he's just a jiu-jitsu nerd at this point. But at that time was just submitting. That's the only people he's losing to. Where Ryan Spann's losing to, Anthony Smith. He's going to a split decision with Sam Alves. So I think the competition level is a little bit different. Krylov is only losing to people who he should lose to, where Spann is kind of losing to people he probably shouldn't be losing to. I'm going with Krylov just because of the durability. I've seen what he can do throughout round, first round, second round, third round, but I understand the threat of Spann. So even though I kind of feel like there's pretty good value in Krylov at like the minus 180, minus 170, whatever it is, because if he wins this fight, it's probably going to be a dominant. He's going to get him down and just maul Ryan Spann. I understand the dangers of Spann, and this almost feels like one of those fights that Ryan Spann is going to find a way to win, either with a big shot or maybe you can catch him with a choke or something like that. So, my pick for this is Krylov, but like so many of the picks for this card, top to bottom in general, just because you're making a pick doesn't mean you're making a bet, and it's the same situation with this. I haven't put any money on Krylov. I might look something for Spann for value, but this is a tricky card. All I can say to you guys right now is buckle up, keep your money in your pockets for the most part, and we'll see if we can get through this week, because there's a lot of pick'ems on this card. There's a lot of live dogs, but this has been the quick pick video for UFC Vegas 70 from me. Make sure you go to we1picks.com, become a premium member. It is only $10 a month. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe if you are new. I am out.